what we don't know about our bodies. We don't think about things like, I was taught nothing about my body growing up. I didn't lose my virginity until I was basically almost 22 years old, which I have a lot of shame about. I think it's kind of old, kind of dorky, and even the person I lost my virginity to does not know that he took it. Because I had a lie that I lost it at age 16 under a creeping willow tree, which is different than a willow tree. You get real detailed when you lied about stuff, right? I lost my virginity at age 21, but like almost 22, like 21 and 11 months. And it wasn't because I was a prude. I wanted to lose my virginity. It had always been my life's goal ever since I was a little girl. Just grow up someday and lose my virginity. And the thing that stopped me, well, I think it was sort of a Catholic thing. Well, first of all, I didn't really understand even what sex was, right? I mean, I had sex education, as we all did, but it wasn't like, they didn't like teach you how to fuck. You know, it was just like, they never said anything about like making love and sensuality and, you know, there was never any gay people involved. It was just like a man lays next to a woman and they get pregnant. And I was like, oh, why would anyone do that? And so, single bed for life, right? And so, all we had in sex education for the girls, we had a big poster of fallopian tubes. And I was like, those are inside of me? And they looked giant. And like, why aren't they coming out my mouth? And it was just like... And there was just a vagina right there with an egg right here. It looked like a ball in a catcher's mitt. And it looked like the egg is always there. Like, come on, let's play ball, impregnate me. Come on, we'll go around the bases. Woo! And then for the boys, they just had a poster of sperm. And they taught us, in one little drop of semen, there's billions and billions of sperm. And I was like, okay, and that's all I remembered. And then as I got to be a teenager, my mother was like, never have sex, you'll get pregnant every time. And I was like, oh, but I think she's right, because I thought back to those two signs. The egg, waiting and ready, and then billions and billions of sperm. What are the odds? 1 billion to 1, you're going to have a baby, right? I was like, how come women just have one at a time? How come they aren't just like why aren't babies just like spilling out of everybody? Like, there's billions and billions of sperm and one egg. So I didn't want to, you know, lose my virginity so fast. And it was kind of the Catholic Church's fault. Like, now, I'm cool with Jesus. I knew Jesus didn't mind if I had sex because Jesus loved whores, right? It's in the Bible. He hung out with prostitutes. They were his favorite people. Whenever he was getting fed up with the apostles, he'd be like, where are my prostitutes? And they'd be like, we're here. And he'd be like, oh, we're not going to be able to write about you in the Bible, but cool. And then he was friends with them. So I knew that once I had sex, I would just confess to Jesus. I had sex, and he'd be like, you know, I love that. And I'd be like, I know, just telling you. And so that would be fine. What I was afraid of was getting pregnant. Obviously, I didn't want to be a teenage mother or a mother, period. So I knew if I got pregnant, I would have to have an abortion. And I was very afraid of abortion because of church. Not because of Jesus, but because of the priests at church. Every single sermon the priests at my church did were about abortion, even though it was not in the Bible that day. You know, they would be like, Merry Christmas, everybody. And we are here because Mary had a baby. She kept it, even though she didn't know who the fuck gave it to her. And we will celebrate Mary. She didn't have an abortion like you girls who go to the clubs and use it as birth control. And then if you had an abortion, you go into hell. If you know someone that's had an abortion, you go into hell. You're all going to hell. Guys, don't worry about you. We'll high five you. It's cool. You got a woman pregnant. But the women are going to hell. And I was like, I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to go to hell. So I decided I'm never going to get pregnant. And the easiest way to do that is just to never have sex. And I really didn't understand what an abortion was. I didn't know it was a safe medical procedure that prevents a pregnancy from becoming a pregnancy. I thought you carried a baby to full term and then quietly in a doctor's office, they like shot it in the head. You know, I was like, I'm not doing that. Not judging, but I'm not doing that. So instead of sex, I was the girl who loved being fingered. I love fingering. I still love it. I love fingering. I am bringing back fingering. It's amazing. Do it to everybody. It's not just for kids. It's like sugar cereal. Adults can enjoy it too. It's wonderful. You're going right to the source. It's the greatest feeling on earth. And so I had a lovely boyfriend who used to finger me. And the first time I ever got fingered, oh my God. I mean, I touched myself before, but when you get to go hands-free, it's like, whee! It's so exciting. And the feeling was so powerful that after I got fingered, every moment after that I wasn't getting fingered, I was in a deep, dark depression. And that's why when you see goth girls walking around, they're not trying to get attention. They're upset. They got fingered once and haven't been fingered since. And they're like, it's all so dark. Everything is horrible. I don't feel anything. So anyway, my boyfriend usually went first on me because he was a good guy. But this one time I wanted to return the favor. And so I took my 2 dry hands and I rubbed his penis up and down like you do. And it almost caught on fire. And so like a skilled firefighter, he grabbed it like a hose and was like, I got this! And he came on his hand like a young man of 17 does, and he wiped it on his t-shirt in the basement, and then he kindly went in to return the favor. But all I saw on that finger, well, I couldn't see it, but I knew it was there, billions and billions of sperm. And I didn't want to be like, can you wash your hands? I'm not ready to become a mother, because that's dorky, right? And then I was like, wait a minute, you can't get pregnant from fingering. They would have told us, right? They would have told us that in school. Unless they don't know what this is, and we just invented it. But I was like, I need that good feeling, so I let it happen. No consequences. I didn't care. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I just put my hand on my stomach, and I felt a heartbeat, and I was like, oh my God, I'm a mother.
My mom then made me become a debutante. She had been one, so she wanted me to become one. Now, do you guys know what a debutante is? Was defined as an upper-class young woman making her first appearance in fashionable society. Now, I don't know what describes me better than that. I spent the entire summer after my senior year of high school having to learn how to become a lady. At the time, I was working at the recreation department as a maintenance worker. I was lining softball fields and picking up trash in parks, you know, like a lady. Then I would leave my job all sweaty and gross, and I had to go to etiquette classes where they taught me how to use forks or how to use a napkin. I know you're all just assuming you pick up a napkin and wipe your face. No, you're all savages. You have to daintily grab your napkin, and then you just dab the corners of your mouth. Yeah, I just spent my summer just dabbing the corners of my mouth like this and just envisioning the rest of my life as a handmaid. I had to then learn how to talk like a lady. Apparently, you cannot just go up to potential suitors and go, "What's up, Mark?" They don't like that. I had to dress like a lady because at the end of this was a debutante ball where all of us had to wear a giant white wedding gown. Yes, I had to wear a giant white wedding gown while my brother in a tuxedo walked me down the aisle, and then I had to curtsy to him. It looked and felt like I was marrying my brother, which is just a little too on the nose for North Carolina. Oh, but I did it. I became a debutante for my mom. And then I was presented to society in what they call a coming out party. It just happened to be the wrong coming out party. It would be quite a few years before I realized that I was gay, which is bonkers because I have had this haircut since I was 5 years old. My hair knew I was gay. I didn't.
One of the valuable lessons I learned in life that I think every woman should know is, never let anybody with dirty hands touch your cuckoo. In life. I learned it the hard way. I was about 17, right? I was on the school bus, right? It was after track practice, and there's this boy that I liked or whatever, and he was like, we was making out, and he was like, "Can I touch your coochie?" I was like, "Okay." And I let him touch it. And the next day, I was itching like a motherfucker. I was itching bad. And I was like, oh shit, something's wrong. And I went to my homegirl and I was like, girl, I think he gave me AIDS. She was like, what's wrong? I said, my coochie itching really bad. I'm pretty sure it's AIDS. And she was like, no, Tiffany. Look, I heard my mom talking about this. You just need to put, it's something white. Yeah, mayonnaise. Put mayonnaise on it. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, put mayonnaise on it. So I went home. I put mayonnaise on my cuckoo. I went to sleep. When I woke up, my left coochie lip was gone, y'all. My whole left lip was gone. My right lip was on super swole. I was like, uh-oh. I'm growing a penis. I'm going through the change. So I thought, maybe I'm not going through the change. Maybe it's just an infection. Will grandma say if you get an infection? Oh yeah, put some peroxide on it. So. My coochie looked like it had rabies. I was foaming, it was bad. I went to the, she's like, girl, you stupid. I was like, nobody raised me, bitch. I'm just going off of things that I hear from other people. This is why I'm glad there's the internet now. This was the 1900s, a bitch didn't know no better. It was so bad. I went back to sleep. When I woke up, my right coochie lip looked like it was a hot dog in a microwave for too long. We're not gonna show that image. Turns out I just had a yeast infection on steroids. So what did we learn from this? Dirty nails, dirty D. That motherfucker can't touch me. Don't put mayonnaise on your pussy.